Greetings to all. Welcome to CEC lecture. The topic of discussion for the lecture is United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, functions and objectives. In this lecture, we shall understand the structure and working of United Nations Children's Fund. In this lecture, we shall also discuss important aspects of children issues for the present day global governance. Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore ji said, "Every child comes with the message that God is not yet discouraged of man." Former President of India, APJ Abdul Kalam ji said, and we quote, "Let us sacrifice our today so that our children can have a better tomorrow." As we take these important insights with respect to children from the words of Rabindranath Tagore, that every child comes with the message that God is not yet discouraged of man, from the ideas of APJ Abdul Kalam, let us sacrifice our today so that our children can have a better tomorrow. With these important ideas, with these significant visions, we begin the lecture and the discussion on United Nations Children's Fund, objectives and functions. United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, is a special program of United Nations. UNICEF is dedicated, it is devoted to helping national efforts to improve the health, nutrition, education, general welfare of children. Let's understand, when was UNICEF created? United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, was created in 1946 as International Children's Emergency Fund, that is ICEF, by UN Relief Rehabilitation Administration to help children affected by the Second World War. As we all know that after the First World War, the world witnessed Second World War, which was way much larger in terms of the destruction and devastation it caused. And in any calamity, in any war, children are also affected. So looking at the post Second World War reconstruction aspect, International Children's Emergency Fund was created in 1946 by UN Relief Rehabilitation Administration. And again, the focus was to help, to assist, to aid the children that were affected by Second World War. UNICEF became a permanent part of United Nations few years later down the line, that is in 1953. So in 1953, UNICEF becomes a permanent part of United Nations. The name was shortened to United Nations Children's Fund, that we understand it in the present time, but it is still referred to as UNICEF. UNICEF began its work in India, if you look at the important inputs from history, in the year 1949. UNICEF is guided by the Convention on the Rights of the Child. That's very important to understand. Convention on the Rights of the Child. This is in 1989. Now, the Convention on the Rights of Child, it strives to establish children's right as enduring ethical principles and international standards of behavior towards children. It is very important to understand that as we understand the work of UNICEF, it is also the Convention on Rights of the Child 1989, its various clauses, articles, which we shall discuss in just later part of the lecture, are very important to be understood also. UNICEF was awarded Nobel Prize for Peace in 1965 for promotion of brotherhood amongst nations. The headquarters of UNICEF are in New York City, United States. This program focuses on providing supplies, assistance, as we just pointed out, with respect to important dynamics of children development and growth. And what are they? Health, nutrition, health, welfare, education of children. The organization, as we pointed out, it became a permanent agency of United Nations in 1953. The words international and emergency, as we just discussed that earlier, it was International Children's Emergency Fund, ICEF, and the name was shortened to United Nations Children Fund. So, the words international and emergency were dropped from the official name, but the acronym, that is UNICEF, UNICEF, the acronym continued. Some of the important work areas, as we just pointed out, let's recall that. So, what are the important work areas of UNICEF? Child development and nutrition, child protection, education, child environment, amongst others. Let's try to understand the structure of UNICEF. UNICEF is governed by an executive board consisting of 36 members that are elected to terms of 3 years by United Nations Economic and Social Council. As we pointed out just some time ago, that UNICEF is guided by the Convention on the Rights of the Child 1989, and based on this convention's idea, it strives to establish children's rights as enduring ethical principles, and most important, come out with international standards of behavior towards children. So, now for the purpose of our discussion, we will try to understand United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. UNICEF works on the basis of UNICRC. The UNICRC has 54 articles that cover all aspects of child's life, and it also, that's very important to understand, with reference to United Nations Convention on Rights of the Child, that it sets out civil, political, economic, social, cultural rights that all children are entitled to. The United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child also explains how adults and governments must work together to make sure all children can enjoy all their rights. This declaration, it articulates that all people owe children the right to, that is, means for their development, special help in times of need, priority for relief, protection from exploitation, and an upbringing that instills social consciousness and duty. The Convention on the Rights of the Child, it's very important to understand that it is part of the legally binding international instruments for guarantee and protection of human rights. The Convention on the Rights of the Child was adopted in 1989, and this convention's objective is to protect rights of all children in the world. Let us now look into some important articles from the convention in order to understand better that how this convention guides the work of UNICEF, and also that how children issues today are becoming important with reference to global governance. The Article 1 of the convention gives the definition of the child. So, what is the child as per the convention? Everyone under the age of 18 has all rights in the convention. Second important article, the Article 2 of the convention talks about non-discrimination. That is, the convention applies to every child without discrimination, whatever their language, abilities, whatever they think or say, whatever their family background is. So, non-discrimination is an important pillar of this convention as stated in Article 2. Further, Article 3 talks about best interests of the child. So what are the best interests? That is, the best interest of the child must be a top priority in all decisions and actions that affect children. So this is coming from Article 3 of the Convention. Moving forward, Article 4 of the Convention. Article 4 of the Convention, that is implementation of the Convention. That is, governments must do all they can to make sure every child can enjoy their rights by creating systems and passing laws that promote and protect children's rights. Article 5 of the Convention, again very important to understand, parental guidance and a child's evolving capacities. Let's understand that governments must respect the rights and responsibilities of parents and careers, and to provide guidance and direction to their child as they grow up, so that they fully enjoy their rights. This must be done in a way that recognizes that the child's increasing capacity to make their own choices. Article 6, again very significant, life, survival and development. Article 6 of the Convention, that is, every child has the right to life. Governments must do all they can to ensure that child survive and develop to their full potential. So, as we try to understand this convention, once again, that is, everyone under the age of 18 has all the rights in the convention. It applies to every child without discrimination. The best interest of the child must be the top priority. Governments must do all they can to make sure that every child can enjoy their rights. Further, governments must respect the rights and responsibilities of parents and carers to provide guidance and direction to their child as they grow up, so that they can fully enjoy their rights. That is, every child has right to life, survival and development. Now, this convention, this important declaration, we have to understand that UNICEF works on the basis of United Nations Conventions on the Rights of the Child. And therefore, this convention with all the 54 articles, we just focused on important 6 or 7 ones, but we must look into all the 54 articles. It's a very important document, United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, very important document. And as we focus on this document, we understand that how governments must work together with respect to ensuring all children can enjoy their rights. And as we are discussing functions and objectives of UNICEF, this convention and the important articles therein provide important insights with respect to that how significant the work of UNICEF as well as how challenging the work of UNICEF is when we look at in the present day governance. Moving further, UNICEF Day is a very significant occasion. So as we understand functions and objectives of UNICEF Day, while understanding functions and objectives of UNICEF, let us now understand the significance of UNICEF Day. UNICEF Day is observed on 11th December every year. Now this day is to spread awareness on saving children's life, defending their rights and helping them fulfill their potential from childhood to adolescence. The United Nations General Assembly announced the UNICEF Day on 11 December, and this was in the year 1946. So every year since then, UNICEF Day is observed on 11 December, and the important aim of this day, that is to spread awareness with respect to safeguarding the lives of children, with respect to promoting and defending the rights of children, and above all helping them fulfill their potential from childhood to adolescence. As we are trying to understand functions and objectives of UNICEF Day, let us try to understand important themes of UNICEF Day with respect to add more to our discussion on functions and objectives of UNICEF. As pointed out at 11 December every year, it is observed as UNICEF Day. The 75th UNICEF Day was celebrated on 11 December 2021. This day marks the establishment of the United Nations Children's Fund. The theme for the year 2021 UNICEF Day was very important, that was the 75th UNICEF Day in 2021, that is to help children to recover from interruption and learning losses experienced through the pandemic in the last 2 years. We must understand that the pandemic had a huge impact on every household, and most important, the lives of children and the learning processes thereof were also impacted. So UNICEF, through the UNICEF Day on 11 December 2021, that was the 75th UNICEF Day, brought the attention, tried to amplify support with this important theme to help children to recover from the interruption and learning losses experienced through the pandemic in the last 2 years. Moving forward, going a little back in the history, UNICEF Day 2020 theme was to focus on addressing the needs of the children facing adversaries due to the COVID pandemic across the globe. So therefore, what we point out that how through the UNICEF Day every year, UNICEF through a new theme tries to address important issues of the children. For example, in the year 2021, that is to help children to recover from interruption and learning losses experienced through the pandemic in the last 2 years, or UNICEF Day 2020 theme, that is to focus on addressing the needs of the children facing adversities due to COVID pandemic across the globe. That is every year. Through this, UNICEF is playing an important role with respect to spreading awareness on important issues concerning children's life, on amplifying support with respect to children's rights and their lives and issues, and above all, trying to get solidarity and all support from governments and all pledges from government with respect to various issues concerning the children. As we are discussing aims, functions and objectives of UNICEF, we must understand that there have been important reports also from UNICEF, which not only point towards the important research work it does, the important work it does with respect to presenting more information about issues concerning children, but also that how today children issues are becoming very important with respect to global governance. We now take reference to the State of the World's Children 2021. The executive summary, that is very important report, the State of the World's Children 2021 on my mind, promoting, protecting and caring for children's mental health. Some important inputs from this report. The COVID-19 pandemic has raised huge concerns for the mental health of children. This report demands urgent investment in child and adolescent mental health across sectors, and that is not just in health. Further, the State of the World's Children 2021 on my mind, promoting, protecting and caring for children's mental health. This report also argues for proven interventions in areas like health, education, social protection, amongst others. So therefore, today as we all know that global governance is a very wide and complex area. Global changes, like as we see that today we are witnessing that how technology is an important aspect of global governance. technological innovations are playing an important role for the rise of Industry 4.0, Globalization 4.0, digital learning, education, amongst others. Environmental changes like climate change, biodiversity loss, loss of flora and fauna, greenhouse effect, global warming, all of them are very significant. So when we see at these new security threats, where the threats cut across borders, children lives, children rights, child concerns are very important. Technology has presented new challenges and children's concerns with respect to learning and education must be taken into account. Environment, climate change is an important global issue and how it is impacting every household where concerns of children must be taken into account. Prolonged conflicts, mass migration are at the same time not only important global issues, but again reading from unicef.org that they are completely changing childhood too. So children issues which were hitherto excluded with reference to global governance debates and discussions today, with global changes like rise of digital technology, ecological imbalances, environmental changes, climate change, mass migration, they are having an important impact with reference to changing childhood too. So dear learners, in this lecture, we tried to understand the aims, the functions and objectives of UNICEF. UNICEF, the United Nations Children Fund, it is a special program of United Nations. It is devoted to work on important issues like health, nutrition, education, general welfare of children. Earlier, when we look at international global governance, in the high politics domain, children issues never found an important space. But however, today looking at the changing dynamics of global governance, rise of new security threats, health, nutrition, education, general welfare of children also becomes important therein. UNICEF was created in 1946 as International Children's Emergency Fund, and UNICEF became a permanent part of United Nations in 1953. The headquarters of UNICEF are in New York City. It was awarded the Nobel Prize for Peace in 1965, and UNICEF is guided by the Convention on the Rights of the Child 1989. We must understand that how important work areas like child development, nutrition, child protection, education, child environment, all these areas are very dynamic. Each time they are witnessing new changes. So therefore, the work and functions of UNICEF become very important in this regard. When we try to understand United Nations Conventions on the Rights of the Child, that is where UNICEF works on the basis of UNICRC, this declaration argues that people owe children the right, that is means for development, special help in terms of need, amongst others. In this convention, with the definition of the child that everyone under the age of 18 has all the rights in the convention, it applies to every child without discrimination. The best interest of the child must be a top priority in all decisions. Governments must do all they can to make sure that every child can enjoy their rights. Governments must respect the rights and responsibilities of parents and carers too. So therefore, and that every child has important right to life, survival, development. UNICEF Day is observed every year on December 11, and this day has important themes every year. The theme for the year 2021, that is to help children to recover from the interruption and learning losses experienced through the pandemic in the last 2 years. The theme for UNICEF Day 2020, that is focus on addressing the needs of children facing adversities due to the COVID pandemic across the globe. Further, UNICEF does very important work with respect to research and providing invaluable information. The state of the world's children's 2021 on my mind, promoting, protecting and caring for children's mental health too, presented important information and also argued for the need for solidarity, support for proven interventions in areas like health, education, social protection with respect to children. Children issues today are no longer just about households. With global challenges and changes like digital technology, climate change, environment, migration, they are also having an impact on changing childhood. So therefore, in global governance now, children issues are important too, and therefore the functions, objectives and the role of UNICEF indeed becomes very significant. Dear learners, we hope that the lecture presented to you significant inputs and insights for the topic UNICEF, role, functions and objectives. We look forward to positive, encouraging feedback from you all. Thank you very much.